Hello everyone. I am going to talk about governance multi-account AWS environments at scale. So as already mentioned by Gopal, cloud governance is nothing but set of rules and policies adopted by organizations that run these services on the cloud. The four main keys to the cloud governance is having visibility, like what team owns what part of resources, the configuration, how they are configuring it. It must be secure. It must be in compliance with whatever compliance you are having. Your operations must be running smoothly, that your business must not be affected, and you should be able to manage risk if something happens. Uh, Moving forward, when it comes to the AWS, it is recommended that you need to have multi account strategy. So why single account is a problem, why it is not recommended? There are certain factors. One of the factor is having multiple teams. So as organization grows, they end up having many teams. And if they have single account, they will be stomping over each other's work and resources. So one need to sue permissions together, which makes managing your permissions very hard. And when it comes to isolation, it's a lot easier to be able to isolate things because teams will be using all of the same resources in their own account only. And also in future, if something happens, the blast radius will be very minimal. That means it is not going to affect any other teams. With security and compliance, there are certain applications that have different controls around them. For example, let's say you are using a PCI compliance and you have certain applications which are PCI compliant and non-PCI compliant. When you have auditing, you want to see all your PCI compliant resources. So you create your strategy according to that, that one account have all your PCI compliant resources and one does not have any PCI compliant resources. Makes your auditing easier. When it comes to business processes, teams may have completely different business units, and using multi-account is fairly easy to manage. And at the last, it's a lot easier when it comes to billing to see what part of the business is um, is actually using what kind of the bills, like what kind of resources they are using and how much bill they are taking up. We can figure out which billing is part of which business rather than sorting into several accounts to figure out cost of a specific business. So that's why we always move forward to have a multi-account. But with the multi-account environment, there are certain best practices in order to scale those multi-account environments. So first one is having your environment architecture. So make sure whenever you are starting with your AWS or whenever you are migrating towards your AWS, you have a very thoughtful architecture for your account structure that will make sure that decisions that you are making today are not limiting your future, that you're not going to face any issues in case if any of your business grows or any of your business unit grows in future. The second one is creation and provisioning. So you want to have a very strong account creation and provisioning pipelines that will allow you to quickly spin your new accounts for new parts of your business and ensure that all of your new accounts are ready to go as soon as you vent them out to your teams within your company. The third one is your access and permissions, that you want to be able to centrally manage your account access and permission. That means all of the members within your organization should only access your account. Otherwise, people outside your organization should not have any of the access to any of your account. The fourth one is organization wide defaults. So there are certain things that you need to have in your organization wise. You want to have things that you want to apply globally across all of your accounts. And that's how you can do it. Using organization wide defaults, you will be able to do so. With security and the remediation perspective, you want to be able to centralize security and you want to be able to respond in remediation fashion to everything that happens to your environment. The cost optimization. So whenever you have a central cost optimization and insight across your organization, you want to be able to keep tab on how much you are spending, how much, what is like how much amount is changing over the time, how much business in terms of cost is changing over the time, and any additional info that you may want to see from the cost perspective, you can see using your insights. And finally, your compliance and monitoring, you want to have an aggregated compliance and monitoring. So you have one place to go whenever you want to look what is happening with your AWS accounts. So these are few best practices that you want to have when you want to scale your multi-account environment. I'm going to talk about these things, some of these things in details. Due to some time constraint, I'm going to skip some of them. So the first thing is, whenever you want to start with AWS, you need to have a multi-account strategy. When I talk about multi-account strategy, that means how many accounts you want to have in your organization. You need to choose a structure that meets your needs. And you cannot go with the architecture that others are using, because not all the architecture fits all. So in that case, there are certain questions that you can always ask yourselves. These are how many business units you will grow into, or how many business units you think you will grow into or have currently. What are the commonalities among the account guardrails, so that you can go ahead and group those accounts together in order to apply security policies and any other policies to them. And finally, how much you can automate this, because automating the stuff reduces the human error and helps you to operate a lot faster than if you have the manual processes. And answering all of these three questions will not help you. There is a framework provided by AWS that you can use. That is your starter AWS multi-account framework. What it does, it provides you by default certain accounts. And this is something that it looks like. What it does, you have AWS account. This AWS account, you have AWS organization. Under that, AWS will tell you to create some of your organizational units. And these are going to be your foundational OUs. Security and infrastructure. Security, because you want to manage your security centrally. You want to manage who are able to access all of these accounts and whom you don't want to give access to. And infra, for certain creating your networks, for creating your certain infrastructure that is going to be common for all of your accounts. There are some additional OUs that AWS will ask you to create, such as creating your sandboxes, where you want to see how these services, certain services works, and something you want to experiment with. And finally, if you think you are ready to go, you will create an application, and workload is the OU where you will deploy your application. There are certain ways as well where you can do, right? Like creating your production account, creating your network account, those kind of things. So this is according to you how many you want to create, and AWS will help you decide whether you are going in the right direction or not. So now we already know how many accounts we want to create. The next step is to how to create them. So there is one service that is provided by AWS, that is a landing zone. So landing zone is nothing but a service provided by AWS to automate the stuff of creating your AWS accounts. So what it does, it deploys a vending machine which will eventually create your secure multi-account AWS environments. This is going to be your starting point whenever you want to start with AWS or migrate to the AWS. And let's say right now you have created just 3 basic accounts, and in future you think that your business is growing. So you want to create more accounts. So this will help you to expand over the time. It allows you to define baseline requirements for each account while providing separation of the concerns. And it logically separates your environment to prevent any changes, any unintended changes to your production, because it is going to be on a different account. It limits the threat exposure by minimizing the footprint in a single account. And this is where I talked about the blast radius, that if one business is affected, it is not going to affect your another business unit. And at the last, automation. Automation will help you to quickly spin up the new environments if you think your business is growing. So at the right side, you can see a landing zone. This is what it was there on the right side. I am going to talk about, this is a basic architecture of the landing zone. Sorry. This is the basic architecture of the landing zone, how it looks and how it works. So at the top level, you can see that it uses AWS organization that manages your master organization account. Your master organization account is the one which will help you to create other different accounts for your business units. So you can see it uses certain services like Lambda. It is also using your CloudFormation stacks. It is also using your service catalogs. All of these things are actually describing what permissions you have, what permissions your accounts needs to have, and it will going to create them thereafter. So these accounts are created by something called vending machine that you can see something over here. These vending machines are nothing but a way in your AWS that creates your accounts with your catalog services. So now you can see over here, you can see 3 basic service accounts. So whenever you are starting with your landing zone, these are the 3 default accounts that it will create for you. It can, however, create more accounts as per your needs or as per that you dictate to it. But 3 accounts must be there. That is, one is for your security account, logging account, and shared service account. Security account and logging account doesn't need to have any connectivity with anything. So the networking layer, that is the default VPC, must be disabled. Apart from that, on the shared service account, the default VPC must be enabled. So all of your accounts, all of your services that are centralized and that needs to be shared among all the accounts must be present in your shared service account. In the logging account, will keep track of what accounts you are creating, what resources you are creating, and your security account will have all your guardrails, like what things needs to be denied, what alerts needs to be raised if something goes wrong. So these are just 3 default accounts. It can be more if you want your organization to have more accounts. So I've talked about this vending machine. This is the vending machine that I was talking about. The vending machine is nothing but as a service in your landing zone. This vending machine along with your service catalog is going to create your new accounts. How it does it? Here, this is service catalog. I've been repeatedly talking about this service catalog. What this is it allows organization to create and manage catalogs of IT services that are approved by organization to use on AWS. That means there are certain softwares that your organization allows it, and certain softwares that your organization doesn't allow. You will only be able to see or use those softwares on AWS. You won't be able even to see those softwares. And this does not include just the softwares. It can be your virtual machines, it can be your images, it can be your servers, it can be your database. So it helps you to achieve governance and meet your compliance requirements to enable users to deploy only the approved services and not the other unapproved services. So along with it, it sees what services can be used. It triggers the Lambda. What this Lambda does it will trigger your CloudFormation stack sets. It will create your new accounts based on the permissions. Also, your Lambda is the one which is pushing all of your logs of creation of your new account to a logging bucket in Amazon S3, using Amazon S3 in your logging account. And that's how it creates your new operational accounts, new organizational units, and also updates your existing operational units. So this is about how you can create. Now you have already created your accounts. You must secure them. So in order to secure them, you need to establish some guardrails. So these guardrails are nothing but a set of rules and policies that instruct you in the way that these things needs to be in compliance. It will instruct for configuring any resources that mitigate the risk or address them. There are certain guardrails. The 3 main things are having a service control policies to define the global guardrails. These service control policies, what it will tell this, it will be at the global level. It will tell all of your accounts to be aligned with your compliance. That means you need to have 2 kind of SCPs. One is your detective, one is your preventive. The detective one is going to detect that something goes wrong it will automatically create an alerts and tell your security staff that something is going wrong and you need to take some measure in order to mitigate them. The another one I'm going to talk about, the preventive one, in the next slide. And I'm going to talk about another guardrails. If you're using EBS encryption or if you are using EFS, you need to make sure that everything is encrypted. Your data inside your organization must be encrypted. If you're using Amazon S3, make sure that you block public access. Only the private access must be allowed, given that you have policies only as per the policies only. So I've talked about this preventive SCP, that service control policy, and this is an example of the preventive SCP. At the left side, you can see there is a policy return, and it says that there is a condition which talks about that string not equal to. So if you are in the region EU Central 1, EU Central, EU West 1, you are not allowed to access any of these resources. You're not allowed to use IMF, WAF support organization, global accelerator. You won't be able to deploy any of your application. So this is one of the preventive SCP that talks about you're not allowed to do it. It will prevent you from doing so. If you look on the right side, there is one more example, and it says that we are going to deny access to any specific role. So the specific role is here in the resources. It talks about that you are not allowed to modify this IAM role, this admin role. You're not able to delete it. You won't be able to modify it. You won't be able to do anything to this admin role. And this is one of the example of the preventive SCP. So these kind of guardrails needs to be present when you're using multi-account so that all of your new accounts are secure and you are aligned with your compliance. So that is it from having a governance at the scale for multi-account account on AWS platform.